I am excited for this one. Sentinels taking on Cafe Rose in our third match of the day.
All right, thank you, Zoe. Heading into the ban phase. All right, Vicky, what do you think they ban out, first of all? Like, I don't know if you agree with me, but like, it seems to me that, you know, last time Sentinels kind of messed up the ban phase, right? You mentioned how important Elsa is, and they're already going straight for Gambit instead.
Yeah, and with Cafe Rose immediately taking out the Elsa, we've seen Yushir like pop off. We know that Raimazing is like a professional Ditto, but I think another important thing to note was that Korova wasn't like in the starting lineup that we saw from Sentinels before. Like they've been slotting in a different look for Sentinels in general, and I think that's important to highlight because when we have Pro Builder and you have Korova in the same lobby, and Mirror is now being slotted out for Sentinels, and now Korova's back. Are we going to see the Adam Warlocks? Like, what year is it? I don't think so. I'm not too sure. It depends on what this pick and ban phase is looking like. But with the Gambit being protected, you see the Elsa on the other side. That means you don't want the damage boost from the Mantis. So it kind of forces out that ban away from Sentinels. And they've also have had to review which different compositions that Sentinels likes to ring out. Because we talked about, yeah, we lost being a very unorthodox. Sentinels are kind of still sticking to, like, the old true strategy, despite the ultimate nerfs that we've had.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. I think they've been kind of mixing things up, and I don't know, like, for Sentinels, this is the time that you have to take advantage of them if you're Cafe Rose, right? Like, because the patch was only, like, the new season even was only, like, what, 15 days ago or less now at this point? I don't know, like, last Friday or Thursday or whatever. Like, it's not been that long, even with the new patch that we'll get next week with the White Fox changes everybody's talking about. But, like... Usually it takes teams like an entire month to figure out a patch, in my opinion. So this is going to be interesting to kind of get the overarching theme of things. But as you mentioned, Vicky, we're going to see both Invisible Woman and Gambit like banned and protected for Team Sentinel. So again, more focused towards the strategist line. And for Cafe Rose, they're kind of mixing things up as well, making sure that, you know, the Van Pool doesn't get in alongside the Star-Lord and Elsa. So I don't know about you, but I'm leaning towards Cafe Rose. What are you thinking in the ban phase?
I agree too, actually. The fact that they could protect the Venom and the Elsa, you have the Anti, but they do have to deal with the fact that they don't have a Gambit, Invis, and Mantis. That's fine because we've seen Pixel play off of the Luna Respect too with these BRBs. When you have Pro Builder on the Moon Knight, I'm not too sure if that's what we're really going to start with. Yeah, you have a lot of close quarter fights when you're getting onto the other side of the hallway, but this is Pro Builder. When we saw him go over to Moon Knight, I believe it was over in New York, so it's a little bit easier to break through those chokeholds when you're expecting like a triple Vanguard hold, but this is domination. This is map number 1, and now with Sentinels on their side with Raimazing being on Ultron, this was kind of like that first team just yesterday where we started seeing more utilization of Ultron proceeding in throughout that day.
Yeah, it can work, and I think, you know, I guess the things that we've seen different, maybe for like the side of, yeah, we lost, like Vicky, earlier they did the Mantis stuff with like the DPS pool and stuff, right? Like that's always something that they can switch to, but maybe not Sentinels, right? Like they have to think a little bit inside the box slightly, right? Like with this Ultron like pocket composition, it's I guess quite different than what we would see out of maybe a more fast-paced squad.
It also means that Cafe Rose, the fact that they're not running the Magneto, there's not going to be a bubble on Pixel when he's going to be using the Eternal Bond, which is something that Dogman's going to be looking for with the Meteor M. They were expecting the portal, though, as it tries to cut them off from the other side. Sentinels getting ahead of them. Cafe Rose now wrapped up from behind. And it's all up here for Pro Builder to try to follow up not only between No Binds, but also with a Sia, and No Binds is ready for it to pop that armor.
I mean, they're running this composition to kind of deal as well with that Rocket Raccoon ult that's going to come in. Nice freeze to slow down the Venom. But Lyric, oh no, caught out towards the point. Doesn't have the team's help. I mean, Yushir just kind of walking forward, though the BRP does bring him back. In terms of ultimate charge, Sentinel should be able to get this Ultron's rage up, but it might be at the same time Pro Builder taking a ton of damage meanwhile from Yushir, who's just playing hard peel style. Slows down the Venom. In the meantime, with the stun, able to fly back to the team, though. Nice shield from Lyric, too. So Sentinels, with this first point, though, are kind of just able to play towards the back until they have ultimates. They're sitting at the edge.
Crimso was literally a pixel of health, and look at the extermination, both Respect and Raimazing getting that fast, but Shanji from the skies clips Raimazing's wing, which invalidates the extermination and allows Cafe Rose to walk up and also reclaim the point because there was no stall from Sentinels.
I mean, we literally heard in the interview, Cart Lover's like, we didn't have the gun character player on our team to deal with Ultron in the sky. And, you know, when the gun character is in the lobby with Zenji, he's just able to take down Ultron. Raimazing's ult gone to waste, nothing else to follow up. And I would have thought maybe they built Portal Stratos ults in the time but they just did, right? So now they only have 25% of the board, which is not a lot, honestly, considering the advantage they had. And now you're going against this Glortrox, which could be disgusting.
I like the Galtron. It's almost like a hybrid real quick, maybe. If you have the Ranger Royal Flush, at least you could deal with it because you get to purify right through over from the other side, at least try to back away. The Iron Phoenix, as the reset comes in from Yusher, but unfortunately could not land its mark. There was no follow-up damage. Pixel stays alive for now, and also stays alive through a Meteor M, it looks like, from Dogman. Kurova's ready with the Invisible Boundary, and now the Lyric comes in with an Eye of Agamotto, just hitting Ghost. The Pro Builder wants to go in for these follow-ups, but unfortunately it's distracting the piece. At the moment, it still benefits Cafe Rose, because they still have control over the point, but they've lost out on Pro Builder. Amazing's upset, and he finds no buys in the process. That's 2 out, and Sentinels get to reclaim this point shortly.
Yeah, sadly, I mean, Pro Builder was committed. Nobody was there to really help him, and now Respect's ultimate has to be held. And the Phoenix might build Phoenix ult in time to counter it. So, rough fight, I think, for Cafe Rose. Both teams appear to be a little bit messy, honestly. Like, there's a lot of mistakes going on the board. These fights are lasting a lot longer, I think, than we would see out of other squads. But maybe things change moving forward, right? Sentinels, they need to build up this Phoenix ultimate, I think, to counter Respect. May not happen, but it depends on how much space they give it.
All eyes too on Pro Builder and trying to get impact here with this Galactic Legend, especially with Amazing having the Extermination, rallying up the troops though with the Freedom Charge. Is going to be Crimzo who had made that swap off of Venom into that Captain America, and Yusher pulls up and takes the full opportunity to find a 3K. That BRB, unfortunate for Pixel, is going to be to no avail. They take him out back to back. He had no other choice, and Sentinels get to wrap up around Cafe Rose in terms of their progress on the point.
I mean, I guess, like, the idea is they get ults out, they get Cap ult out, but that's a little brutal because, I mean, they didn't have the Phoenix ult just yet, I think, on Yusher's side. They probably would have built it, so it makes sense why he wants to hold on to it. But they're still getting countered in that regard, so I really wonder what Cafe Rose do here. I mean, they have to find a pick in the neutral, but they're still against a lot of Shred ults.
And with this opening things up with the C, you try to send out the Galactic originally from the other side, but Senji finds Kuruma! No way, he was about to have the Invisible Boundary. This has Amazing, at least with the Extermination, to help re-sustain while they wait out on Kurova. But this also allows Sentinel to at least kind of move back, give some space to Cafe Rose. They're about to hit 9 numbers.
Nobody's
and Cafe
touching.
Rose point! Dude, what? And they had taken out Kurova too, which means Kurova will have Invisible Boundary for the next round, but they could have literally contested. They almost like they were afraid or feeling very pressured out because they could have walked beyond that choke. It was the Extermination from Amazing that they were trying to respect, but there was no time. They had to recontest, and nobody's had ult.
Oh, that's just brutal. That is, but like, oh god, that's rookie mistake, man. That just is. We're
seeing it more often, dude.
That's like one of the worst I've seen, Vicky. That's brutal. I mean, honestly, in that last fight, it looked like No Binds actually doesn't have his keyboard, like, bound. Like, what is he doing? Like, why can't we touch? Like, why is nobody touching? Like, I'm actually gonna keep, like, what are we doing? Ah! They're too scared, Vicky. They're just like, they're playing too scared in it with the advantage. Like you said, like, Kurova overextended, got picked, he fed. Cafe Rose needs to take advantage of it. No Bind setting up his play, I get that. But someone's got to touch the damn point, man. That's embarrassing.
Especially when they were doing so well, right? They had advantage in that fight, and even if Kurova came back with Invisible Boundary, it was still winnable here. But we got to move on to the round number 2 here. Can't look back now. Only moving forward. Big piece of the abyss here. Meanwhile, no one's looking at Pixel. Fear Magneto, Meteor M trying to crash down, though, and Kurova was ready with that Invisible Boundary. Now it's going to be matched with Lyric, having the Meteor M, looking for one of those strats. Nice protection, though, over to the other side. Shooting blind, too, with Kurova being on the other back end of that Invisible Boundary, and still getting dove by this Venom. Pixel's going to be able to move everybody from Cafe Rose and keep harassing Sentinels because they have the number advantage and the point advantage.
Yeah, but Sentinels keep presenting opportunities for Cafe Rose to take advantage. They're still touching. Yes, they're down a member of their squad, so they have to still play it slow, using every cooldown to touch. No ultimates just yet either for Sentinels. So this is going to be actually very hard to hold on to. But Cafe Rose have been so slow to take advantage of their ultimate advantage. Like, they're going in with this, like, spin to win with the ultimates before anything from Sentinels has been built. They're letting Sentinels get back into this fight. Now we're committing Star-Lord and the See You Later in the middle of the fight. Maybe we can get advantage. Finally, they do so, and they take people out. But they're a little bit too slow to react sometimes over Sentinels when Sentinels is giving them an edge. But Sentinels trying to find some picks. They actually do so across the map from Dongman's team up with the Gambit. So they're kind of still in it, oddly enough, Sentinels are.
Oh, yeah, they have way more damage output, too. I mean, just the fact that you have the Sia, it's going to be the discount Raging Royal Flush, and it doesn't get the same impact that the Raging Royal Flush does afterwards. And Sentinels with Crimzo, who had stalled from the very beginning, finally, now, Sentinels flipped the point for the first time of the series. That was a very long initial fight.
Yeah, this is wild. But this is what I'm saying. Like, this is Cafe Rose's opportunity to take down Sentinels, and they just floundered every single time. Like, Sentinels in these cases, you know, whether it be Raimazing overextending or Kurova or Yusher, you know, this team is obviously still working on the coordination a little bit. We'll see if they can finally put things together. There will be against Zanji a ton of ults, but with this Ultron's Rage, they're going on the aggression. This is what you would want to see out of the opposite side of Cafe Rose. Oh my god, was that block from Dongmin?
No way! I mean, even, and did you see the also turnaround from Raimazing, who also started shooting the end part of the extermination towards it just in case, but it looked like it was blocked out from the other side as now Pro Builder move up, find Raimazing. I mean, there's only so many directions Raimazing could look at as they try to dive onto the strats. Fear Magneto, Meteor M. Shanji, though, has found both of the strategists from Sentinels, leaving that Meteor M, hitting nothing but blanks. His Dogman is the next one to go out, and only leaving Crimzo as Raimazing comes out of the spawn room gates.
Yeah, I like it so far. Honestly, the switch up, the Daredevil play has been nice out of Zanji. Nice ultimate as well. Towards the height, you know, couldn't save him, couldn't keep him alive. Now this upcoming fight, we also did use Phoenix ultimate, so we know Cafe Rose's Respect has that free Rocket Raccoon ultimate to fight in this upcoming fight. Depends on how he places it, depends on how safe it is, right? Like, Cafe Rose, we know they've been a little bit slow to react. Zanji now caught out by the Captain America, who's keeping these flanks in check. But we'll see if Yusha can find the pick in the neutral before they use the rocket ult. But no, Respect pops it intelligently, I think, even though they're not going to find KOs. It's probably worthwhile just to make sure you can at least get a fight win.
It does, but now Sentinels, by the way, are trying to back cap, and the Cafe Rose realize it. They go right back to the point while Sentinels try to walk up for free up on the high ground. They just give space to them. It was all thanks to Crimzo on the cap. You're wondering, too, we've been seeing a lot more cap bans, unfortunate for Poly, but it's also been targeted towards Crimzo, too, here, and this is the reason why. The stall potential is on another level. You want to get the Mosquito Swatter and slap that cap away from the points, and he's got the Freedom Charge to help out with the stall, as well as Pro Builder looking to get into an angle to utilize the Apex Predator.
And they're all over the point. Everybody trying to play her inside these drones. Pro Builder going down the Yusha. Nice job. Respect. Obviously dodging around, making sure they maintain height. Sentinels trying to get that flip, and they'll do so. Like you said, just able to walk into point, invisible boundary, and cap ults enough to deal with Cafe Rose. And I'm back to spawn. Now for Cafe Rose. They give up that point. You have Meteor M to counter that Ultron's Rage, but will it be peeled for yet again on the side of Sentinels like they did in the last fight from Dongmin?
Find out with Yusher having the follow-up potential and the reset. Here you go with the extermination is ready. Raging Royal Flush is going to be the ready, set, go. Crimzo does get frozen. Meteor M tries to focus down on the Gambit, and Yusher finds Respect. No Sia available for this next upcoming fight. No binds is incredibly low. Pixel's having to dance up, trying to back away too. But Sentinel's nearing already 85%. With the extermination, they're down these two members, and Crimzo is harassing Shanji. He manages to get away in time thanks to Pixel being in an off angle to help them out. And Cafe Rose, they still haven't flipped the point just yet, but with the information they've called out on Raimazing in the air.
I mean, Zanji's able to run free roam into the back line, close to that ultimate as well. I mean, Sentinels do have the point at the very least. Respect still sitting with ultimate. They know there's no Phoenix ultimate too, so he could pop this whenever, but don't know if they need to because they have that Daredevil going ham. The pocket, nice job with the flap to keep everybody alive as long as possible, or rather patty cake. But it's not enough, sadly, considering you don't have any ultimates. Now they go back to spawn, Vicky. 66% of the board. They'll flip it. But this is getting dicey. I mean, the last fight, maybe Sentinels could have taken advantage with a little bit more ultimates outside of that. They're going to stagger Raimazing, who has to slowly walk off the map. The Cafe Rose, they're in an interesting spot now, Vicky. They have to still play a little reactive. But Sentinels don't have ultimates at all. They have to build Kurova's ultimate. And I mean, for him, for his case, I'm wondering, you know, if he's going to get picked by Pro Builder again, who went off with the Glartrox in the previous fight.
And information from Shanji, who's going to be able to retell that to Cafe Rose. They have a Sia, and they have no binds close to that Feast of the Abyss. They have to retouch here if you're Sentinels. Cafe Rose close to that 99%. You're having that 1v1 against no bind specifically. Remember, he does have that reset, at least with the armor, as well as the extra health from the Feast of the Abyss. Overtime now activated, and Crimzo is looking to strike. He has to stall potential with that Freedom Charge, and they're going to be rotating that together with Kurova once he uses that invisible boundary. But right now, Cafe Rose have a BRB. That's also a difference maker as no binds comes in, and Yusha won't be able to come in with a reset off the Phoenix ult.
Well, nobody just need to live. Nice anti as well. Ultimate onto the back line. But here comes that Glartrox. It should be big. It could be off the map. There goes one. Is it enough? He might die in the middle of this. Oh, yes. Finally, Dogman is able to take down Pro Builder, who's been playing hyper-aggressive throughout. Pro Builder to get found by Lyric at the very least. So that's something. Rage and Roll Flush from Playmate is here. But can they find the KO onto Zanji, who is trying to dodge away? Bait time out of Sentinels. And he does so. I mean, they still have control of the point as well with this. Luna's still ultimate. I mean, you don't have anything. You have the White Fox ultimate coming back to the point and the Meteor M. But they have to find some KOs here with this Meteor M. Yusher has to connect on something. He's got every ult in the book. Can he get rid of this Rocket Raccoon or the backline? Lyric finds one, trades out Playmate. So it's a 1-for-1 of strats. Do we find the KOs after this? We have strat ultimates. Surely we hit the shots, Yusher. Come on, man. There it is. Another one down. Sentinels do get the point flip, but the portal is surely going to come.
And is it going to be enough time? It's via Pixel, and now Sentinels, they do flip it in their favor. Looking back at Cafe Rose, it's going to be Pixel who's going to try to put down that portal. It's ticking down for them, and they currently a Pro Builder on the Spider Bend. There's not enough time to set it down. And Sentinels, they take map number 1.
Holy crap. I'm just in awe, Vicky. Like, Stellar Spaceport could have been their map, and then that one too. I mean, at the end, too many ultimates for sure. The Glartrox wasn't the big. I think that like their Elsa play is playing a little bit too aggressive. Like Dongman's had multiple opportunities where they could have gotten the KO on the Elsa. But regardless, I mean, Cafe Rose are in these fights, but just keep losing grasp because of Sentinels. I guess higher caliber play. I think that they've overall played better. Yusher had most final hits in the lobby, was kind of free. But still kind of a tough round from Cafe Rose to lose, considering, man, they were just seconds away from winning.
And was also consistently contesting Pro Builder. Every single time you saw Pro Builder up on the high ground, who was waiting to blast them off is going to be Yusher. So I think Yusher having that target priority, sure. No Elsa, no problem, don't worry. We'll be able to roll out Yusher just fine on the Phoenix. And it was dealing a good amount of impact too on the backline that was trying to hide side by side together. No Binds wasn't able to get the follow-up. You saw Respect getting targeted too. Crimzo, despite what you see right there with him getting 8 KOs, going down 3 times, it was the stall potential that also allowed Sentinels in the first place to get that point in their favor.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Vicky. I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, just the call out of Crimzo, you got a great read on it because, I mean, he was just doing everything in the lobby in terms of just impacting the game. And yeah, you're right. He's a big reason they won, even though MVP does go to Yusher. Now, for Sentinels, Vicky, can they maintain that going forward, right? Because we go to the next maps, and honestly, Cafe Rose should be best on domination. So this is going to be scary, I think, for Cafe Rose as we go either to Convoy or Convergence. But we're going to go to a short break. We'll see you guys after it for map number 2.
거침없이 난다 겁없이 뛰어가 fly mode be breath free shining flying higher feel the spark of light mode 우리 하늘 위로 the rise up
Welcome back, everyone. Sentinels are claiming that first map against Cafe Rose, who I gotta be that person. Not the cleanest start from them. They really had to kind of lock in, right? A little bit disappointed at seeing them so, I guess, scattered at the very beginning of it. However, I do want to give some praise out of the gate here. Crimzo, Vicky Kitty, you mentioned him right before we went to a break. Crimzo also has been massive yesterday. Seeing Crimzo back on that Captain America, because day one Crimzo was struggling. The Angela was not a great look for them, but what he got to do yesterday and also today on that cap and how much impact that had on his team, how much space he made for that team, how much distraction he made for that team, like that's a valuable player right there.
Yeah, it is, because then you get to stall out for as long as possible. Even if you lose out on that one player from the beginning of the fight, which we saw actually from Sentinels in that second round, you're able to recontest because Crimzo is just like, you know, there and just basically a dungeon boss because he's not getting taken down because there's so much split attention to what the fight isn't going on in a hallway like that. I really like this look here from Sentinels, but I don't like how messy it looks and how I don't like how messy the beginning fights have looked, at least is the way I'm trying to transcend this into, because they're still sticking to the triple strat, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that too, Dogman, because a lot of eyes on Sentinels and how maybe this comp may not work for them against other higher ranking teams.
Yeah, I think we've seen like really solid teams play it, and they've been good at the past on these compositions, but it's, as you mentioned, I mean, Crimzo's still here on this roster. They split up for a little bit to go to like multiple different teams, but with Korova, Crimzo, and Ramazing back alongside Dongmin, who has also been all over the place, right, playing for a ton of teams after Intergalactic. I think he's been a big linchpin to this team, also improving. And then Yusher has been playing, he was like in the APAC region, I believe, for a little bit, and then back. Yeah, it's a lot of, it's, as you mentioned, they're all really good mechanically skilled players. I'm just wondering if they can keep up, like, improving their team cohesion, I guess, is the thing. And to back to your original point about triple strategist, I think they can run it. It just has to be maybe a little bit, like, more effective and efficient, more aggressive. Like, we can all agree, like, when we saw, yeah, we lost play triple strategist, that wasn't just them playing back, right? They were always making plays and going forward. It's a little bit different, I think, when you run the Ultron instead of the Mantis.
Yeah, I think we're still just waiting to see how much dimension there is, how much depth there is to what Sentinels are playing, because they just made those switches yesterday, right? And even in those switches, they initially came out on that triple strategist again, this time having Ramazing on that Ultron. And in the next map, when Ultron was banned, Ramazing did share that with us in the post-match interview. He said, like, what are we going to do when they ban out the Ultron? And that's where Ramazing came in and was like, I can play Iron Man, you know, like if you let me, if Ultron is out of the mix. So that was kind of their go-to in case Ultron is taken out of the mix. But will that work every time, or is it too one-dimensional?
It might be. I mean, it's like, it's tough because in the past when we did see Iron Man, completely different meta though, obviously, but like it did feel like it was good against these dives. Like you can play counter dive with Ultron, or with Iron Man rather, and it can work. So he's right. But as Vicky said, this guy's like a freaking ravenous dog trying to play Ultron, or sorry, Iron Man at all instances. So you never know, I guess.
Well, we're about to find out what they have in store for us as we're heading into map 2. It's match point for Sentinels.
All right, Vicky, what do you think of the change about this ban phase?
I saw right now the Gambit getting banned out, so it's looking very similar, Dogman, because we did see like the Elsa ban out too from Sentinels first, as well from the other side rather, with Cafe Rose making sure that Yusher cannot get popped off on that role, considering that he was just going crazy off of the Phoenix alone. So maybe seeing a similar source to that. You have more open sight lines here too, but it's about getting through that initial choke for Sentinels when they come out of the attack. Do they get away with their Daredevil? I'm wondering here, because we know that this team, they may like the triple strat, but it's also very flexible if they do need to make some of these shifts. Are we going to see the Ultron again, because you still have that verticality? Is something else that I could expect here too?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that you could think. I think maybe we're overthinking even, maybe like the fact that we've protected Vanpool, and I like Vanpool, don't get me wrong, I think he's really strong. But I think going over from domination onto convergence, this Elsa should be even stronger. It should be even easier to get large Hoxes, I believe, in these like super, linear pathways. So that's a kind of like an overreaction maybe, but they go for the protection for the Adam Warlock, which is interesting. So we might have ourselves a potential triple composition, but it's matched by that Mantis ban. So Sentinels kind of reacting slowly to what Cafe Rose are doing, and they're able to still get this full Gambit team-up stuff that they've been playing.
Wait, strap in, Dogman, because this is what I want to look forward to. If we get the what we saw from Korova versus No Binds, or rather Pro Builder Adam, it could be a Ditto matchup. We got to see. It may happen. It may roll out with it. But is Korova stuck and not being able to play Adam Warlock Jail? We're going to have to find out here because Flamme at least has that Gambit. Dongman will be able to follow up with the Rage and Royal Flush together with Yusher, and Korova is indeed not going over to the Adam Warlock. I got excited sometimes, but with no Loki, that means you won't have those infinite res comps. Whereas Cafe Rose, though, do have Loki available for them, which is where Respect is going to be, so you're going to be hearing the Born Agains ring through your ears over and over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you have with the Loki, too, you're right. This has always been a phenomenal Loki point in map, so it's good to have it back. Like, it's good to be back on Shibuya after a year of not seeing it, basically, in the hero pool. Like, it feels like even before Ignite started, we just haven't had it in the hero pool, which is a little crazy. You know, maybe pray that we see Royal Palace again, maybe. Who knows? But, you know, I like it for Cafe Rose. It's still odd. I don't even know if, like, these are the most proactive triple strategist teams we've seen so far. Like, I know they both play it, Vicky, but I mean, surely we've seen a little bit more, like, proactivity out of, like, these Mantis stuff. Like, Sentinels, it seems like they've given up on Mantis, by the way, considering it's not banned for them. But they don't even want to play it most of the time.
No, if anything, it's just because Raimazing is letting himself unleash up in the skies. This guy is always up in the air in some way, and if he's going to be able to pop off with the Ultron, it's about getting that extermination to have much more of that impact, and together with the Rage and Royal Flush, you'll be able to actually melt them down from the air, maybe bring a tear to their eyes. We're going to see, because already Sentinels seems like they're not having an issue going in through the show. Cafe Rose playing very spread out. This is also another map where we have to make a point where this is a fantastic map for Loki.
Yeah, you talk about being in the sky. Everybody's trying to play in height, but oh my goodness, No Binds just gets stuffed by Dungman. Nice shots from him, able to walk towards that point, and this is kind of a linchpin, I think, for Sentinels of succeeding, is Dongman taking advantage of the space he's provided, and that's 2 in the fight for him. Just walks up, hits the shots on Magneto, Pro Builder back in the fight, but, I mean, Vicky, they haven't even gotten res. This is the first time they've used this Soul Bond, and they're not even together right now. They lose Zanji away from their Adam Warlock.
Yeah, now look how much damage they're taking, too. You currently have Amazing coming right back over to here. Respect uncontested in that side room where the health pack is. But with the recontention from No Binds, I like this portal play. Still trying to build in space, but also the stall potential for Cafe Rose. While Crimzo comes in on the Venom. Great timing and communication to find that dive and pick up onto Lyric. That's both the Vanguards out of the table for Cafe Rose, which means Sentinels have the number advantage and they clear out Cafe Rose and an ace.
Yeah, I just kind of wish in hindsight that we didn't protect the, I hate it to say this, but like the protect the Van Pool instead of the Elsa. Because Zanji's going to be over to that Phoenix. You already banned like Rocket Raccoon, so you're not really getting like a soft counter there a little bit with the Phoenix. Pro Builders over the Psylocke, so they're playing that 2-2-2 style, and that's nice. But I don't know, like Lyric on that first point, I guess it was tough for him to get much going, and maybe for them, they need to play this 2-2-2 style, just kind of get more aggression on the backline, because Sentinels, you mentioned it, Raimazing in the sky has been free.
And I also think that's the pressure from Crimzo, right? Being on the Venom, waiting to get the diving opportunity and hearing the comms, okay, they're one, dive in, get that pickoff, and you also stall out more of that ult potential. The extermination is coming out for Sentinels as Raimazing's going to be able to pressure out Cafe Rose from this side building. Look at this, taking free real estate. In this we'll have to take those as Sanji learns to clap back and shuts down Raimazing. Sentinels still have 5 of these ultimates as a Raging Royal Flush tries to match, and it's going to be the win condition for Yusher to have the Galactic Legend.
They tried to match with the Luna dance floor, and it's enough to keep everybody alive besides the Loki who can come back, so that's actually not too bad. And you have Kurova hit by that band hammer. Meanwhile, Pro Builder still goes down, though, a little bit too far forward. You know, maybe they can sort of slowly work themselves into it, that Phoenix ult afterwards, but they do find one at least. Yusher going down to Pixel and trade. This is not that bad for the offense still, though, because these are KOs after KOs, and they're using ults to not even win the entire team fight, so it's kind of still awkward, like we saw in previous maps for the side of Cafe Rose.
It's all about having those ultimates between the Galactic Legend and the Rage and Royal Flush to help with these follow-ups, right? You get the copy, though, and now Respect gets the copy off of the Rage and Royal Flush. It looks like a nice anti onto Korova. Meteor M comes up from Dogman, and at the very end of the slice and dice, yes, Pro Builder finds Korova, but Dogman gets a little bit of revenge. They just won't have Korova here to help with that sustainability. Flamme and Raimazing still up and healthy.
Yeah, Zanji's a little caught out now. Dash back to the team, though. Nice job to hold on to those movement abilities. And also, against Triple, he is a little bit more free, so he kind of understands that. He has to play a little more aggressive. Nice job with the force physics on the Crimzo. But it's as you talked about. I mean, he's the way that he win these team fights is getting Crimzo, removing him. Like, that's we saw a lot of good teams, too, right? Like you mentioned, taking out these really hyper-aggressive Cap and Venom players is the way forward. Maybe they can, you know, slowly work themselves back into the series by doing, as you said, taking out Crimzo, although he's going on a Groot, so they've maybe thought of that.
They also ended up getting off of that Adam really early, too, with Pro Builder being on that side lock and making some swaps. Lyric gets the caught, though, with the Deadpool ultimate onto Kurova with a beautiful Magneto bubble, protecting him in the meantime, thanks to also the Ultron bot to bring him back up to health. So they just look at that, they walk away. Lyric kind of seeing that they didn't get the impact that they needed. Sanji does have a reset, but Yusher finds no binds as he tries to fly away.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is like we need another person there with us on that dive because they do the Bane Hammer, Pro Builder goes in, but then after that, they have no other follow-up. Maybe like we saw with we lost, they were like went hyper-aggressive with the strategist. They have to use an invisible boundary in such a weird place. This is an interesting location to get the fight, but it's kind of working because Yusher in the sky doesn't have any support. He goes down. They have to come back to the core without him now. That's a lot of damage removed. Dogman still has the Meteor M as everybody touches, so that might help them. He could connect onto somebody. Unless it's just a tank, but the Phoenix comes in to help stall. No bind still gone. And one after another losing the Vanguards. And this is brutal now when we look back at the ban phase because both of the very important duelists are gone. And both of their duelists have struggled so far. Zanji goes down to that Groot ultimate. Everybody else just kind of ran on in the middle of this invisible boundary. Do we have any damage after this? Maybe No Binds could get a big ultimate, but we lose Pro Builder again.
And these group walls are being a problem too. The anti onto 3, at least in the backline, but there's no follow potential, just like you were talking about, Dogman. So they're not really afraid. If you're Sentinels, they block out the line of sight once again. They've isolated No Binds. It's a matter of time before he's literally one-shot, and Amazing is a nail in the coffin. Lyric is going to be the next victim, and I feel like even with Lyric moving back and Yusher finding that pick, he hasn't been able to have that same amount of impact because there is no follow potential.
Yeah. I mean, it's like something needs to change about Cafe Rose because they realize the best comp is like the dive comps and stuff, but nobody's really following up on any of these dives from Pro Builder and Lyric. Like, where's No Binds in these fights? I'm wondering, kind of, they're just like a little off sync, and you know, dive is always difficult to get a hold of. Zanji going to the Wolverine. We saw that pop off before, right, Vicky, on this map. So this could be a good change.
Needed a little boost.
I actually like this because they can catch Amazing up in the sky, and Yusher actually, the extermination is the first thing to go out to try to combat that of the Dance of the Butterfly, bringing everybody up to health and negating what the Dance of the Butterfly was supposed to get for Cafe Rose. And once again, getting shut down. Yusher in the 1v2 against the duelists of Cafe Rose. They try to get the kidnap, they get the anti, and No Binds is going to be the next one to fall. Sentinels are literally just steamrolling through this third point right now from Cafe Rose.
Yeah, honestly, it feels almost like this shouldn't be dominating as much as it is, but the port block comes out now from Dongman. 10 seconds now, stuck in baby jail. We'll see you later as that cart moves forward. Everybody's just chilling here. Getting 3 on it to make it as fast as possible, too. Vicky, this is brutal.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before that portal goes down, but there's nothing they can do because of the portal block. You hate to see it because it's also waste time to build into these ultimates for Cafe Rose. Look at Chanji just staring there. They're waiting. They have to meet a group wall from the other side as they're finally let out of baby jail. The Ranger Royal Flush is ready to be met on the other side. It's going to be the locking key to keep them trapped.
Oh my God, Kurova gets No Binds too, and the Nagamoto. I mean, that should be the nail in the coffin off of that one. Brutal play from that eye. And everybody else just running towards it. 50 seconds left. They capped it out, Vicky. Full cap.
Yeah, when you protect the Loki and you want Pro Builder to originally roll out with the Adam Warlock just for that to change within the first team fight because you never get your footing to actually recontest onto that point when you're on the defense, that's brutal because they protected the Van Pool and they shut down Lyric consistently. There was no follow-up to any of the dive. And then you protect the Atom and you can't even run the Atom because Respect is getting harassed. Yusher is getting away with everything. Amazing's up in the sky. I like the idea of changing over to the Wolverine, but it's a little bit better when you try to go forward into like deeper into this map, I feel like, because you could try to catch him off guard in a more narrow street line. And the thing is, Amazing's obviously a problem, and nobody's really contesting up in the sky aside from like the Star-Lord.
Yeah. I think if you lose both the Elsa and the Deadpool, and then also the Mantis, that might just be like it's over. It's GG because like you kind of need the Mantis a little bit. But this is what I was talking. Yeah, maybe Phoenix. I mean, that's definitely something I think they tried it with Zanji, but like This is what I was talking about, where like it's just such a team game. You know, people will call it individual players. Like Pro Builder, for example, was dying a lot. Like he was getting KO'd. But I don't think it's like his fault, because like you could tell the team cohesion's just not there. Like nobody's not going for dives. Like sure, we could talk about death count, KO count, final hit count, whatever. But if your team is not on the same page, like you're just gonna get absolutely dookied on no matter what. Like Mickey, it's brutal for Cafe Rose, considering they just look out of sync at so many different points that it feels like they're not a very good dive team right now. And maybe that's why they go back over to freaking Moon Knight and Namor alongside the Cloak and Dagger. Just trying to play a little bit more front to back style with this portal.
Look at the way that Amazing just slow looks at the Ankh, deletes it in one burst, and now coming out of the portal, I like the creative ability to try to split the focus, because the rest of the team is trying to go down the middle, but this also means that No Binds has no sustainability, and now Pixel is just left alone. You're about to clip his jetpack, and Future is now following up from Shanji. I mean, Cafe Rose looks like they're lost here, Dogman. It feels like instead of them serving them up a storm as baristas, it's Sentinels that are cooking up in the kitchen.
Why would? Yeah, like what exactly? This is brutal. I mean, foaming at the mouth right now is my barista. Apparently, I don't know if that's a good thing though, because there's a Wolverine in the lobby. But like, I think that the Sky Portal is also like not too common these days, unless they're gonna get kidnapped. Because like, No Binds had nowhere to go after that. He was trying to go back through it. Everybody's pulled in. Antied, by the way. It's just absolutely free roaming high ground right now for the side of Sentinels. They get to do whatever they want because Cafe Rose are getting dove upon. Maybe we can get some cheese shotgun plays out of Zanji. Maybe he can counter Crimzo. That kind of annoying player that you talked about has been destroying Cafe Rose.
But while they're fixated on Crimzo, guess who's harassing them from the sky? Amazing and Yusher, who's spinning to win, and then Dogman's out here bubbling him too at the same time. Lyric is trying to give him the backup. That was the opportunity. They miss out on that final shot, and now the Galactic Legend comes in. The Sia is going to be the next thing to keep Cafe Rose up together and healthy, because they're still going to be able to navigate through the back entrance, and No Bind gets that snipe onto Flamme. Big pickoff, but at least Korova and Amazing will have those sustainability with the strat ult.
Yeah, nice shot from No Binds. A nice grab, though, onto Crimzo. Brings him back. Pro Builder switching over to that Wolverine and getting immediate value. Nice job from him. Amazing trying to turn it still with that Ultron's Rage, but Lyric is, you know, still Vanpool on the point. Korova gets removed. It gets the selfie as well, so getting more team up, or rather more upgrades built up. Amazing's going to have to slowly walk away after using cooldowns, but can't escape Vanpool. This guy is just sticky over Amazing. Shout out to Really Sticky, by the way. Unfortunately not in the tournament, but Invis boundary committed by Cafe Rose. They think they can still close out, considering Sentinels are down 1.
Oh, Shanji 2 activates the final judgment. Well, currently see the Vanpool just seeing that it's double XP weekend. The Raging Royal Flush from Flamme tries to sneak in through the cracks, seeing if it landed here from the other side. A Meteor goes up. Flamme is like, I'm not here. You won't be able to find me. Unfortunately for Yusha, though, he's not as lucky. He gets domed in the head by the Meteor M, and now you get the follow-up with Amazing, who made the swap over to the White Fox. Unfortunately, it falls short after Crypto had tried to portal in to allow everybody from Sentinel to recontest. And Cafe Rose, with some time to spare and making these swaps to the Wolverine, allowing himself to get the benefit.
Yep, full swap, full delay. And
nice.
You know, yeah, huge pull there at the very end. But, I mean, it is smart. I think that the Wolverine we've seen so far be incredibly useful. And then it also helps shut down Crimzo, like you mentioned. And then Dongman maybe has to use more bubbles in like a safer position. No binds, by the way. Besides finding these picks, like every fight onto Korova, onto another, he's there to bubble his Wolverine too, to counter potential Invisible Woman counters. So this is great. I mean, it's a little bit less like hyperactive, but with what Cafe Rose are doing and what we've seen out of Wolverine so far today, it makes sense for them. So excellent swap up for them. We'll see if they can continue moving forward.
Also get the benefit off the Primal Flame, right? You have Shanji on the Phoenix, Pro Builder on the Wolverine. Respect! Not having an opportunity to breathe, but it's okay. He'll come right back. He's got the BRB from Pixel, as well as that Sia that Pixel put down. They're looking onto the other side of Sentinels, and it's not like they really have a combat towards that, so they're just kind of forced to back away, waste more time, just so that way Cafe Rose could get more clearance before Sentinels try to re-engage.
Oh, Crimson going to the cart, and that's what he said about this Phoenix as well being in the lobby. It's kind of been great. Oh, nice shots from Zanji. We've seen it out of him in the previous days as well. I mean, Zanji is definitely somebody who can aim at a very high level. Also, Crimson goes down to Lyric. So one by one, they're falling. This is actually looking like Cafe Rose did on defense. And, you know, I had a lot of people like ask me, they're like, why are so many teams so much better in attack than defense? Just kind of how the meta works, I guess, right now. You just kind of keep pushing forward. Every pick you find is so bad for these defensive spawns. And until third phase, it just feels like Cafe Rose are able to take every aggressive angle.
Also, the way that they try to play front to back here, the Gambit never folds with the Raging Royal Flush to try to get the next follow-up, the Invisible Boundary, and it's going to be Sanji with the End Song Inferno, Meteor M to try to allow Dogman to reset because Crimson had gone down and he had that Freedom Charge coming up, so he won't be there to help with the sustainability as well as the stall, but at least through the Invisible Boundary of Korova, it blocks the sight, Nobind slams it down, and this time misses out on trying to find the Invisible Woman.
I feel like I need to play like the MLG, like sound horns whenever I see Rocket Raccoon gameplay. This guy just hold right click back to the map, just doing nothing. That's so funny. But like, regardless, Cafe Rose gets walked on because of our amazing soul. They used one. Nice. Nobind trades it though. Yeah, nice job from him. BRB was used earlier, I believe, on Zanji though, so they're not going to have that. But no binds. Let's go. 2 in this fight. Also has the help from Zanji too, who has been resurrected from earlier. And yeah, we're getting control of the start of game at 1 minute and 12 seconds. Cafe Rose playing this way better than they did earlier.
You know, it's crazy to see that Cafe Rose, no Gambit, no problem, and Nobind just playing like he's got the Gambit power up because he has been sniping out Sentinels consistently. Lyric here just trying to build up together. That's Pixel puts down the Sia after the Freedom Charge is activated from Crimson, just so that way they can prevent the second checkpoint. But Lyric with the headshot onto Yusher, Janji popping off. This is what we wanted to see in terms of the swaps from Cafe Rose.
Yeah, listen, if they're going to play it like this, I mean, I'm fine with that ban phase if you're just going to pop off like Lyric is. He's just getting so much more work done on offense rather than defense. But that's what we talked about. It just felt like how Cafe Rose was playing, they didn't really have like their fallback angles. But on offense, you could see like if they have to fall back, they're going somewhere where the Wolverine can take advantage of inside, right? Like it just feels like Cafe Rose on offense looked like a well-oiled machine. But, Vicky, they still only have 1 minute and 50 seconds left to go. They have ultimates, but we need to not use too many in this upcoming fight because Sentinels do have that Star-Lord ult.
That's what they're going to want to wait for, too, with Flamme having that Raging Royal Flush. And with Cafe Rose, specifically Pro Builder, I'm going to be a little worried. Crimson's coming in from the back line as he prays down on Pixel. He manages to get away. They need some help. They push him back. Nice shields before he manages to get away, but it's almost like, man, Captain America, the cockroach that just never goes down, right? He's always going to come right back no matter what, and when you take him out, there's going to be even more from the rest of Sentinels. They were ready, though, with the Galactic Legend being met by Respect, who tried to stay alive, but it's so hard when you get pushed out of your invisibility. That was Sentinels winning it over an invisible Boundary, who did not have an Invisible Woman to double jump and get away.
Yeah, clean job from Sentinels using that 1-2 punch combo with Flame and Yusher. Then also the anti coming through from him, but can Sentinels hold on? 50 seconds left to go. Cafe Rose do have there. Whoa, my God, Nobody just goes in with the Meteor Ram. I mean, they already lose one. Doesn't suck up all of that, and Nobine's only able to find Dongman. Here comes that Phoenix on the backside. They might have gone too far.
Whew. Finds Yusher, though. At the very least, with Respect going down, Pixel's coming right back with that Sia. They could get the follow-up together, but it did force out Pixel to at least see if he could hold on to this Sia with Shanti, who had already used that End Song Inferno, looking at Pro Builder and Lyric specifically. Look how Lyric is going to try to play this as Yusher's taking up to the skies here. Korova does have an invisible boundary, as well as the Freedom Charge, so Sentinel has all the assault potential.
Yeah, they do. 15 seconds left to go. Pulled in, Yusher goes in with the bubble. Spin to win on the backside with the blaster. There's no bind sent down very low. Already has to use the bubble on himself. Here comes that invisible boundary, like you said, by
Oh,
defense.
no!
But Korova goes down to Lyric across map too. Nice job with the band hammer to get rid of him. And that Meteor M, yeah, where was it? Where did it go for Dongman? Nice job from Lyric in that fight. Yeah, able to track down Dongman too. Remove that bubble. He does have some support because of those healers in the sky also. You have Crimson America, Crimson's Captain American charge.
I like that.
Freedom Charge by the stall, but Pro Builder doesn't go down. He's going to be brought back by that BRBI Pixel, who has just kind of been a nuisance, living back here onto that Rocket Raccoon. Since everybody's focused on Crimson so much, it allows Pixel a little bit more space. Everybody's trying to come back to Peel, but no binds. Again, he's been a star player in this offense so far. Can he keep it up, though? They need to find even more because into the sky, here comes Yusher with Amazing, Ultron's Rage, and the Galactic Legend. Will they find a KO off of it? They do, but Yusher gets traded. Overtime ticks down. Amazing finds another one. No binds goes down. And that means Crimson's pocketed on the point. Now we have to find KOs in a very dicey situation because Zanji's going to have all the pressure in the world on him with no healers. 90% towards that Phoenix ult, but he can't get it in time. Needs to back up. Overtime slowly ticks down. Where's that portal? It's not going to be here in time from Respect.
No.
And Sentinels win 2-0.
I felt like he was putting it down for so long, too. I was looking at that Doctor Strange swap-off, but it wasn't enough time. Sentinels, they count their breath, they held them back, and the extermination was more than enough after they saw Korova get 2v1, by the way, by a Last Stand and Lyric, who had activated the ban hammer. It wasn't enough. It may have taken him out, but it didn't take the rest of Sentinels out with them.
Yeah, excellent, well-deserved MVP. I think these Mag players definitely don't get enough credit in this patch, but yeah, I mean, they played well around it. Yusha sure went down, but you know, job done, I guess, by him and this guy to create a little bit of space and find those strategists, and Crimzo there to follow up. So a little bit better to Cafe Rose, but you know, a little bit better is not good enough to win versus Sentinels, and that was a very close series, I think, even though it was a 2-0. But we've said that at a lot of these MRC teams, they'll put up a good fight and still lose. Unfortunate for Cafe Rose today.
That's the trade-off when you have best of threes, right? And unfortunately, time is of the essence. That's why that first map on Dom, which could be so volatile, is so important. Imagine the retouches that we could have possibly seen from Cafe Rose. Even at the very end, they're unfortunately respect, not putting down the portal in time. But Lyric did wake up at the very end there. On the attack, Lyric was popping off. It highlighted why they wanted to protect the Van pool. Unfortunately, even though they wasted up that save on the Adam Warlock, they couldn't roll out with it, but it worked out with Pixel being on the rocket. No binds, just trying to get the copy onto Flamé a few times whenever we saw No Bind try to get the Rager Royal Flush for themselves. And then Rymazing still sticking to the skies. You cannot clip this guy's wings. Together with Yusher and his 15 final hits. I agree though, Dogman. These mags from both of these teams were going crazy, and it was Dogman who kept finding a lot of these hits, as well as No Bind trying their best here too from the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. No Binds deserves a huge shout. And I'm curious what Zoe has to say about all this, because Sentinels, it was still like a kind of messy 2-0 like we saw earlier, right, Zoe? Like that was very, very close game to losing. Sentinels did on the first map and second.
Yeah, I feel like both teams weren't necessarily playing the cleanest Marvel rivals we've seen from them. I do definitely think that their first showings, or rather Sentinel's second showing, and Cafe Rose's first and second showing, that looked a lot more well-oiled, a lot more coordinated. You have to give them credit. They did make adjustments, obviously, and adaptations in order to like kind of get back into the series, whereas Sentinels allowed them to get into the series. So I feel like both teams have to go back looking at this match, and there is some cleaning up that needs to be done still.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's why they're given a week, right? Like, I mean, this was the chance for Cafe Rose to get the win over Sentinels. This was their best opportunity, and it's just brutal to see them lose it 2-0. But they at least still have that win from earlier on versus FlyQuest. You know, hopefully for FlyQuest, we'll see if they can bounce back today, because otherwise it just seems like every other team in this group is just taking their turn beating them up. Like, this is brutal for FlyQuest. Not that they're even involved yet today. We'll see if they can come back. Kind of random stray out of nowhere.
No
yeah, sorry.
Absolutely
sorry.
They're not even here yet.
So wait your turn. Yeah, no, but like, yeah, this is definitely the opportunity for, I think, Cafe Rose to like get another dub on the board for this group that is very stacked. So yeah, I might be kicking themselves a little bit. That said, though, I do think Sentinels had a really good game plan here that just worked out for them. Like the constant pressure and harassment onto that back line from Captain America, and then you have those flyers coming in and just like picking off the pieces, right? So it was kind of like Cafe Rose. They just couldn't quite figure out where to shift their focus to in order to stay alive.
Yeah, I agree, because now their next opponents are going to be for the day 2 and 3 for next week specifically, so for Saturday and Sunday, and I believe it's against 100 Thieves and NRG, so it's what Dogman said.
That's
like,
so funny. They actually have exactly the same schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
but like
literally
in both
flipped.
weeks, because this week they had FlyQuest and Swamp Gaming, and next week both of these teams will be facing off against Energy Shock and 100 Thieves. That's wild. That's a first.
Yeah, it is.
I like that.
And that it makes you think, like, if you were gonna have the opportunity to get some extra credits, that way we could turn that 0 score review to maybe at least maybe a 50, then it would have been easier there for them. But unfortunately, it fell short.
That's right. Yeah, I do believe we do have an interview ready. It should be Crimzo. Yay! Long time no see.
Hello.
Different universe, different times, but Crimzo is back. You're also back on Captain America, and man, what a look that's been. You guys like completely like overhauled your approach after that first match this week. Can you walk me through what kind of game plan you had going up against Cafe Rose, which did surprise everyone in their opening matches?
I think honestly our prep for today was very similar to FlyQuest. I think we kind of just did like the same things. Going back to like Swamp, I think we maybe didn't have the best read on the meta and what was correct. So we were still kind of like in the process of figuring things out, but I feel much more confident now that we're in a very good place to continue moving forward and hopefully qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, fair enough. And, you know, I think for you guys, Crimzo, and too, like, I feel like I've rambled it a little bit about it before. I know Rye was talking about it, but I mean, how challenging is it for, I think, for you guys and for pro players to have to adapt to like a brand new patch, right? Like, because we were talking about power rankings weeks ago and, you know, all of that stuff. And then a new patch comes in and you're like, you have to rework everything. So, I mean, what's that like for you as a player? I know that's taken a lot of responsibility in the ban phase to have to adapt to a new patch after it comes out only a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's very, I feel like, honestly, a lot of teams are kind of scrambling, in my opinion. I feel like some teams definitely have kind of like their style that they've kind of decided is like what they're going to do. But I think some teams as well are still kind of scrambling to find that kind of like identity. And I think that, you know, we're adjusting well to the transition. You know, White Fox all of a sudden is like really powerful. And then, there's other things like, you know, more triple support stuff I think is also strong as well. So it's definitely pretty difficult to adjust, you know, as fast as you can. But I mean, that's just part of the esports experience, I guess. You have to kind of be ready to adapt on the fly, basically.
Okay, well, so with Sen City on top, I need to ask you, Crimzo, with all the haters and us calling you guys a triple support one trick, you know, I want you to explain a little bit, looking at the ultimate nerfs and how that's affected you guys. Are you practicing other compositions and maybe making sure that you guys could be flexible when other teams may not expect it because they keep thinking that you guys are this one title?
Yeah, I mean, the triple support narrative is, I mean, there's definitely something to it. We do have a little bit of magic on triple support for whatever reason. I do think that our team does very well in triple support generally. But obviously, yes, we are trying to work on our, like, you know, 2-2-2 type of comms and not rely too much on the triple support. However, sometimes you just have to do what your team is good at and kind of work towards that and focus on that. So yeah, we're going to probably be playing a lot more triple support, but we will be flexible enough to swap over to 2-2 if we think that's the best situation for us.
And I have a follow-up too from that, actually. Sorry, Zoe. Just seeing that, like, Mirror was there yesterday, and now we see Korova back. I think that's interesting that you say that because you guys also have that other player who's incredibly flexible to slot in. So you have that in mind as well, right?
Yeah. JMac, our coach, does a good job of kind of figuring out what we need to do in the moments, and we're still obviously figuring out, you know, sometimes we're going to put in Mirror, sometimes we're going to put in Korova. And, like, you know, each player has their own strengths and we have the flexibility to basically decide what to do and move forward from there. But I'm very confident in all the players on my team to be able to perform when the time is needed. So it's very nice to have an extra bit of flexibility there.
Now, you do have a little bit of downtime before your next matches. Next week is looking difficult, though. You will be going up against 100 Thieves as well as Energy Shock. How do you feel in your current state you will be stacking up against both of those teams?
I think based on kind of where the meta is going and where, like, we kind of predict it to go, I think we're looking to be pretty good, in my opinion. I think it'll be close games. I'm excited to play against 100 Thieves. I always like playing against them and giving people a reason to buy the SEN bundle and not the 100 Thieves bundle. So I'm excited for that. Energy is also a very, very good team. Lots of really nice people on that team. I'm so excited to play against them all.
Ayo, every performance is a sales pitch, Crimzo. Thank you so much for the quick chat. I'll hope you have some good rest time and prep time leading into next week. It's been a pleasure seeing you again and chatting to you. Best of luck in your upcoming matches.
Thank you.